Hi, I'm Saket Bansal, and today again I'm discussing one of the frequently asked question in Scrum Master interviews. This question also get discussed many times in classroom interactions in a Scrum Master class as well as in Agile Coach class. The question is simple: is Scrum Master responsible for delivery? Now, though the question is simple, the answer is little complicated. Most of us tend to find out answer between yes and no, and if you came a situation where you need to decide between yes and no, what should be your answer? So I thought, why not I put a poll and check what community feels about it. And I put a poll in our YouTube channel. And here I want to show you what kind of a result we got. So at our YouTube channel, this is a 1 week old poll now. We got 166 people voted for this particular poll. And 33% believes that the answer should be yes. And 67 believed the answer should be no. I encouraged professionals to add comments. And if I look at the comment, I find many comments are more inclined towards yes. There is hardly any straightforward no. But the votes were more coming towards the no side. Now, before we get into the details of the feeling and the type of issue got raised in the comment here as well as on LinkedIn, I also posted the same question on the LinkedIn. I wanted to share my opinion about it, and then I can share my opinion about the comments which we got on this particular stuff. What I believe is the Scrum Master is not someone who is outside the delivery team. The Scrum team is a one team, and they are chasing some target, and everybody in the team is committed for that particular target. So Scrum Master is responsible for achieving that target. Now, I see many interpret this particular question in a very different way. If I ask, is Scrum Master responsible for delivery, some professionals start interpreting, is the Scrum Master only the Scrum Master responsible for delivery? Definitely the answer is no. The Scrum Master is not alone who needs to hold a responsibility for delivery. The complete Scrum team holds the responsibility for delivery. Now, some interpret that since Scrum Master role is just doing facilitation and conducting meeting, so he should be held responsible for, are those meetings happening, are those metrics is updated, and after that, whatever happens, because the Scrum Master did their job. Now, if we start thinking like this, even in a Scrum environment, I believe it is again creating boundaries between different roles. The Scrum roles were defined to get an understanding of where one particular role should focus on. But it is not like that a particular role should only be limited to held responsible for those activity, and whatever happened in the other area, I should not be considered. My role is done since I facilitated the work. My role is over since I resolved the impediment which were raised to me. Now, what do I do if the impediments are not getting raised to me? Now, if impediments are not getting raised to the Scrum Master, I consider that's an impediment. So keeping your role as a separate identity is, in my view, leads to the dysfunction, which the 5 dysfunction of the team talks about, inattention to result. You are only focusing on your part of the work rather than the complete stuff. So in my view, rather than Scrum Master alone taking the delivery forward and doing the work, he should focus on creating a team which can deliver, coaching the team so that they can deliver, creating an environment so that the delivery objective get met, coaching the product owner so the right requirement get discovered, and the Scrum Master facilitate the whole delivery process, or I could say the whole product development process. And I'm a facilitator, and since I'm a facilitator, I do hold responsibility for overall delivery. Now, if I get into the specific details, one comment came in: what if project get failed, and who should get fired? Great. Now let's look at this particular question, and the context from this question is coming in. Many organizations might be using Scrum, but their management structure, their way of thinking remains find someone and fire the guy and hold that person accountable. Now, if we are working in that environment, ideally Scrum is not the right process. Better we follow a process where everybody's roles and responsibilities are well defined. You have a proper responsibility assignment matrix. You have a KPIs, key performance indicator for each and every individual. So whenever something goes wrong, there should be a very objective decision about who did what, and the person should get fired according to that particular KPIs and all. And that kind of environment definitely hampers the overall collaboration and self-organizing objective. So if we have that environment, even if somebody name it Scrum, but it's a risky to call it a Scrum. Now, let's consider a case that there is a Scrum and organization is not that much sensitive about failures. They allow some sort of failures, but not for a very long time. And if they observe the particular team has been failing again and again and again, and they want to do some surgery on that particular team, where should they look at? Now, I believe the Scrum Master is probably the first place where they want to start their investigation. Because in Agile world, we do start with that we do have talented, motivated individuals, and they are in the team. And if something is not working out, it might be the environment, the facilitation, or their energy is not getting channelized, or there are some impediment which are in their way, which are not getting removed. And these all impediment removal and channelizing individuals' energy is a part of Scrum Master role. So I would say that if there is something like this, Scrum Master should come forward and take the responsibility. So it's like this: Scrum Master is responsible for the failure of the team. Development team is responsible for the success of the team. So if the team succeed, they succeeded because the development team did the great work. If team or a project fails, it failed because the leader, the servant leader, could not create an environment for the delivery, for the development of that particular product. Now you can also check it with various sports metaphor. I know I'm sharing my opinion, and there is no definitive guide which can say this is right or wrong, but you can check the sports metaphor. If a football team end up losing the match, the coach is in trouble. If the football team keep losing the match for a continuous duration, the coach is the one who is on the trouble. If the player is not playing well, he may not survive 2-3 matches because the team as well as the stakeholder may kick him out. But in general, if the team is having good individuals who are playing, but they are still not winning, the probability is high that coach will face the music. So the Scrum Master is responsible for delivery, in my opinion. Now, there is a strong opinion. There are section of professionals who believe that Scrum Guide clearly says, no, Scrum Master is not responsible for delivery. So just to check that claim, let us look at the Scrum Guide. So I'm sharing the Scrum Guide here. It's a 2017 version. Yeah, so, and I'm going to the page where the Scrum team is defined. So we can see this is an area where Scrum team is defined, and it talks about the Scrum team is consist of product owner, development team, Scrum Master, etc., and they are self-organized and cross-functional. And I would like to highlight this area that Scrum team delivers product iteratively and incrementally, maximizing opportunity for feedback. Incremental delivery of done product ensure a product useful version for working product is always available. It's a Scrum team responsibility, not development team. If this is not happening, product owner and Scrum Master can't say this, that, oh, we have a poor development team. You are there to fix that. You are part of the game. Everybody's Scrum Master, product owner, and development team, all three roles, their skin is inside the game. There is no boundary here. There is an definitely area to focus on, but that is an area to focus on, not a boundary to limit yourself and only focus on that area and don't care about what is happening in the rest of the place. You do own rest of the places. The product owner is also responsible for what is happening in the development team because he's a part of a team. He's a part of a Scrum team, and that's what the Scrum Guide, the way I interpret, is saying it. I know there could be other interpretation, but this is how I look at it. Now let's go down and see the role of a Scrum Master further. So we have a Scrum Master role, and it clearly says he promotes Scrum. He's a servant leader, and he shields the team from outside interference. Now, I have seen great leaders saying, do your work. If anything goes wrong, you guys can blame me. I will take the pain. You don't worry, go and experiment. I have seen great leaders, great servant leaders saying that. And that is how you create a safe environment. You make your development team feel safe in an organization context. If there is something to blame to, there is a guy, Scrum Master, people can easily blame to. So that is how you create and you shield the development team from outside interferences so they can just focus on their work. Now, the Scrum Master is also responsible for coaching the product owner. If the product owner is giving not appropriate requirements, if the product owner is going not right size requirements, the Scrum Master is responsible for coaching him. If he is not learning, then it becomes an impediment. And if it's an impediment, the Scrum Master is responsible for resolving it. So complete responsibility of getting maximum out of the product owner. That is what I interpret by this section of Scrum Guide. The Scrum Master serves the product owner in a several ways, ensure that goal, scope, and product domains are understood by everyone, finding technique for effective backlog management, helping Scrum team to understand product planning, all those things. So this is what way I interpret it. Similarly, the development team, the Scrum Master is coaching the development team for self-organizing and cross-functional, helping the development to create a high-value product. If the development team is unable to create high-value product, it's an impediment. You need to resolve it. So remove impediment to the development team's progress. Now, there are facilitated Scrum events as requested or needed. Many times, this is the only line some professionals end up reading and saying, okay, I'm only responsible for doing this part of work as a Scrum Master. I just conduct daily Scrum, or I just conduct sprint planning meeting. Coaching the development team in organization environment in which Scrum is not yet fully adapted and understood. So my opinion, as per my interpretation of Scrum Guide, I think it's pretty clear that it is saying that you are responsible for failures, not necessarily for the success, the way I look at the role of a Scrum Master. It's a difficult role than the traditional way of doing program or project management, because as a project manager used to be inside the game. He used to play, he used to be actively involved in the game. Whereas a Scrum Master role is little more difficult because you should be outside from the game. You are watching, creating an environment, but you are not a player. You are not inside the field. You are not passing the ball inside, but you have to facilitate an environment so that your guys pass the ball back and forth in a very effective way, and they end up winning the game. So you need to create that without participating or without joining the game. And that's the difference between a project manager way of taking responsibility and a Scrum Master way of taking responsibility. I would like to hear your comments. Please post them into a YouTube comment section so that we can aggregate, and most of the other professionals can also make use of it. I do appreciate we may have a difference of opinion on this particular matter. Thank you for listening me for this long.